What's that? Let's try this again. That was kind of whack. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I'm in the same spot as I always am. What's up? What's up? Welcome back to Coffee Talk. We got a lot going on. There's Laura. Crazy. Yeah. There's Bessie. Welcome. Sorry about that. Now, let's see what happens here. Tamara. Is it Tamara or Tamara? Can't answer that, right? Because I'm... What's up? All right, guys, here we go. Let's try this again. We're talking about attachments today. It's 9:34. I got a workout scheduled for you guys today, so I might just post it and get you guys going. Again, I'm kind of like in healing mode. I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm just like... I just want to get healed and get over this hump. I even said when I did surgery on Friday, I'm like, just going to take the week off. I'm going to take it easy. And of course I didn't. I went to the gym and I kind of overdid it. And I didn't do anything with my hands. I was just like, So my body's going, can you just take like a week off? Nope. Can't. So I posted on my Facebook something I wanted to read again for you guys. And then I want to go into attachments because one of the biggest life lessons that I ever learned was detaching from people and detaching from things and detaching from when I let go, my life really started like blossoming. And I want to talk about people as attachments, but let me read. Stay away from people who can't take responsibility for their actions and who make you feel bad for being angry at them when they do you wrong. I'm going to read it again. Stay away from people who can't take responsibility for their actions and who make you feel bad for being angry at them when they do wrong. And that, my friends, is classic narcissistic behavior. I am a moth to flame. I am a narcissistic web. I just attract narcissistic behavior. It's the worst feeling ever. It's almost like, hey, if you're in my inner circle, you must be a narcissist. But that's not really true. Because what's in my inner circle, and I think I talk about like where I am as opposed to the next layer of people out. And the people that are closest to me are very much like me. Super strong people, people that are very offended by like bad behavior, that are intolerable of like stupidity. And stupidity comes in many different forms. And just because you went to Harvard, I don't know if that's the gold seal. I think school is like so overrated. I really think school is overrated. I think people are just so like hell-bent on being better than others. I'm richer and I'm smarter. I'm like, no, you're actually an idiot. I know stupid people. Sorry. If this offends you, I'm super happy. I'm super happy if I offend you. I'm like, I love it. I love when I offend people and they're like, oh my God, what you said. I'm like, get away from me. Get away from me. I like being offensive because then I can eliminate the ding-dongs in my life. Just go away. Because if you're not on my page, then you're on some other page that doesn't resonate with who I am. Do I need to bend over for every nitwit that comes along in my pathway? I don't. And I don't have to give you a list of my credentials or my, life experience and then align with that. I love people that disagree with me. I'm like, okay, all right, you like sagging pants? Explain that to me. Explain that. Just tell me. I'm a Taurus and I don't believe in astrological signs or any of that bullshit, but it's okay. Like, I get it. Like, there's like a generalization. Oh, you're stubborn. I'm like, no, I'm not stubborn. I'm just right. And when you come at me with some wrong shit and try to make me believe wrong shit, this is attachments, people. You become a sheep and you're like, I'm not going to argue with that person because I can't handle the argument. I'm like, come on. It's not an argument. If I'm raising my voice, I'm just passionate. I'm not yelling. I'm just passionate. Like, tell me how sagging pants are of a benefit. And if you prove that point, then I go, okay, I didn't see it that way. I really didn't. I didn't get it. I totally didn't get it. I guarantee those guys that are sagging pants now are going to look back when they're older and they're going to be like, the fuck? Why didn't someone tell me how stupid I look? You don't have friends. You don't have people around you to go, bro. Like, seriously, are you following that trend? Do you know what you look like? Some people are like totally sag pant people. I don't do that. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I heard one time some girl was like describing a guy. Literally, she said that sagging pant thing was like one of her turn-ons. And I was like, my head was like, what? Whoa, wow. Never heard that before. I never even like considered that that might be sexy to someone. That's my thing. That's my thing. That's just my thing. But I find a lot of people that are out there that are so set in, if I attach myself to an ideology, if I attach myself to a concept, if I attach myself to a school, I went here. People tell me they went to these schools and I'm like, I only know Harvard. Like, one, I know it's expensive. Two, I know it's hard to get in. Three, I know that people pay a lot of money to have their kids go there. Four, like, I don't give a fuck. I could care less. I had a friend of mine, not a friend, sorry, it was a client. The guy was like in his 40s and he was still wearing his Harvard shirt. I don't know, Harvard or Yale, one of those places, whatever. And I totally get it. Here's my argument. It's like the same information that is in those schools is actually online. Google U. That should be the new university. That's why people are like complaining about their kids not going to school. And like, I get the interaction thing, but I'm like, I want my kid to like go online because the shit is right there. Hey, save me $1, go online. You want to find, hey, you want information? Google that right there because it's there, right? But this guy's in his 40s and he's still wearing like the Harvard shirt, whatever. And I'm like, bro, you look ridiculous. And, oh, Harvard. And he's talking about Harvard all the time, or Yale, I don't know what it was. And I would look at him like from the outside like, wow, he has attached his whole thing. Right, you can read Harvard papers online. You can read everything online, bro. He attached his outcome to life and everything that he did based on the fact that he went to that school and based on the attachment that he holds to going to that school. And I don't know if, daddy paid a lot of money for him to go to that school, for sure. I know that for a fact. Number two, he's like, oh, if people know that I went to this, highfalutin, I like that word, highfalutin school, that maybe they will treat me different. And people do. People see you drive in a certain car and they're like, oh, shishi lala. I'm like, oh yeah? All right. We know this mentality. Here's a great example. One of the richest men in the world. And whether you agree with his philosophies or not, the stories are great when, you hear somebody like, Warren Buffett didn't really make his money until he was like in his 50s. People don't know that. But he also started when he was 11, selling newspapers, right? But he didn't really like double up on his money until he was older. And one of the things that he does is, I think he's still driving the same like town car that, I don't know, some not stupid car, but he's been driving the same car for like 20 years. Or he's actually in the house that he bought 25, 30 years ago with his wife, and that's that. And I get that. I do. I totally get that. Like, I don't believe that, when you buy things, and this is part of the attachment, guys. We're buying clothes to look a certain way, to appeal to a certain personality, to a person that will judge you based on the clothes that you wear. You're driving a car that you can't afford to be for the appearance, right? And I know I love rolling up in my nice car. That's why I sold it. I sold my car. I'm like, it's a lot of car. I don't need it. I don't use it. Right? And we look at how I have that mindset of watching people now as I've gotten older, and I'm like, okay, my thing right now for the past 5 years has been, I want to get rid of and downsize, and I want to go on the road. I want a big Sprinter Ram ProMaster high top van and trick it out and be on the road. I have my dogs, and part of me is like, I'm gonna retire when my dogs pass. And I know that sounds like, don't talk about your dogs. I'm like, listen, my dog, my oldest, is 16 and a half. That she's lived this long, I have been blessed. Animals that live longer than 10 years is a blessing. And I just recently had, a couple of vet bills that like punched me in the face and illness. So for me, my retirement days will be when they've passed and I detach. And in that moment that I realize, like, when you're young, you're conditioned to get the car and get the education and get the house and make the babies and buy and put yourself in a big freaking hole. Cover yourself. I've got a great analogy, a story that I use. And when I realized, like, back in 2008, when I got hit and I had mortgages and I had to finally, it took me 4 years to let go and go, the bank doesn't care who you are. When they feed you the information and they go, you gotta buy a house, you gotta buy a car, you gotta buy, own, buy. I'm like, wait a second. You never own anything. How many of you have mortgages and you think you own it? You don't. When all this shit goes wrong, they take your house, by the way. A guy trying to tell me, oh, you have to have a house. I'm like, you have a house, you have to pay for the roof, you have to do all the maintenance, and ain't nobody coming to save you. Well, if you own an apartment and they do an assessment and they tell you have to pay $20, $30, $40, $50,000 to have all new railings, guess what? You don't own it. They own you. No, but Lisa, you can leverage and this. I'm like, no, you can't. No. Why did we get such a bad name in renting? Why did renting become a bad thing? I'm like, I rent it, you take care of everything. That's the smart way to go, right? Yeah. I'm like, hey, I rent it. Oh, but that's throwing money away and you're putting money into the more. I'm like, you're delusional. You're completely delusional. Like, you really got it all wrong. And the attachment part of it, I own a house. Check this out. Sorry, guys. This is such a crazy morning. My mindset now has been, I want less. I want no attachments. When I know that I have less attachments and less to care for, I have less to deal with, I have more time to do for myself and be creative and take care of the things that are real. Have more fun and more time to do things. We'll have to agree to disagree on home ownership. I do see your point, though. Listen, here's my thing on home ownership. Just clarity. I used to flip houses. I bought my first house when I was 23. And I owned. And then I understood it. And when the collapse came and they said, hey, and your balloon payments come in, and then the assessments came in, and I realized, I'm like, this is not fun for me. This is just not fun. I'm not having fun. And on the other part for me, just me personally, was I kept looking around at people living in their houses and going, okay, I get it. I get also that when you're with someone else and then you have kids and you have people over, I get all of that. I totally get it. In my mind, I also was like, I hope you're set on where you buy your house and the space that you live in and the neighbors that you have, because I get it through the eyes of my mother, who, when she bought this last house, she's like, I want certain things in my life at this stage in my life. And I think in my stage in my life, I look at it like, how do you know that you're going to like living there in a year? How do you know that you're even going to like your neighbors? How do you know that you're going to like the trees that you look at every single day? Like, the view is going to be the same every single day. The view is going to be the same every single day. The view is going to be the same every single day. Exactly the same. And I get it because I just spent time in my mom's house. Like, we redid the back and we put the deck and the birds and the squirrels, and I was outside and, the garage, and I love that she can drive her car in a garage and the door comes down and it's cool. I get that. For me, I look at it and I go, it's kind of boring. I want to go. I want to travel. I want to go, and I want to not have to be back into a place for an extended period of time. And that my house goes with me. And that's a mindset that is so, I'm off the grid in my mindset now, where I just don't want to be attached to anything. And I started doing that in the crisis. When the 2008 thing just took the rug out from underneath me, I'm like, oh no, delusion, bubble pop, bloop. That's where I'm at. That's just me. And I also became disillusioned with the ownership part of it. And I became disillusioned with, the car and the clothes and the things. And I have people around me that are so attached to the shoes that they buy. And I'm like, really? Those $1,000 shoes? Seriously. Those $1,000 shoes? First of all, most people don't spend that kind of money on shoes. And the people that spend that kind of money on the shoes are only worried about their shoes, not worried about your shoes. Oh, I love those shoes. Yeah, well, I can show you the knockoff for $40, same shoe. Maybe not made the same, but, right? Again, I'm coming from my experience only. I don't want you guys to, I'm not trying to get you to think my way. There are a lot of people. I get the real estate thing. I get the home ownership. I get it. I totally get it. I do. I get it. I wish my mind right now is like, I don't think about where I'm at. I'm comfortable where I'm at. We worry more of material than humans. Yeah, true. I'm not worried about, where in the final destination of life. I have a vision of my life being, land and vegetables and, a pool and barbecue parties and things like that. But when I think about, my home, my house, I think more like I want to travel. I want to, an earthship. I want to go out. I want to see this planet. I want to see all the nooks and crannies that are out there. And I've been able to afford myself that opportunity to go out and see the world and see the planet. But so many people live their lives in regret. So many people live their lives and they build their life based around their house. And I get it. Travel to the UK. Yes, ma'am. They've built their existence on their house and the time frame of which they live. And, you know, I'm in this house, you know, and I raise the kids, and then the kids disappear, and then they have grandkids, and it's the house and the house and the house, and that's cool, and that's your life, and that's wonderful. There's also, you know, a set of arrangements where you say, I just want to live, and I want to explore, and I want to travel, and I don't want to be connected to anything. Our concept today, our coffee talk, is about attachments and what attachments are holding you back. What attachments, I thought that was crazy to think like this because it's exactly the way I think. Yeah, listen, I think I speak for a lot of people that are out there that are going, what am I doing? Where am I going? How am I living my life? Am I happy? You know, and being able to look at what would you give up in order to do the things that you really want to do. What is it that you have to give up? And a lot of you are attached to relationships that disable you. Okay, gym shit, yeah. A lot of your attachments are solely based on, I have this mortgage and this house and this business and this relationship, marriage, children. There are a lot of things that are holding you down from exploring what life has to offer. And it's not because you're a bad person, because you want to go explore, but we also look at people that, like me, I think of all the things that have either attached mentally or physically, and I cut those cords. And when I cut those cords and I go, wow, I can go and do and be whatever I want, whenever I want. And the freedom of that, the freedom of being able to do whatever I want and go wherever I want with whomever I want. And a lot of you are going, but I can do that too, Lisa. I love when my girls go like this. Don't get pissed at me, because I'm going to say something that you're not going to like. I'm like, hey, so-and-so. I'm going to have a hey, babe moment. Hey, so-and-so, let's go to dinner tonight, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, let me get back to you. I have to ask my person. Usually my husband, whatever. And I've had friends literally like, no, I can't go because he wants me home, whatever. I'm like, 365 days in a year, and you're attached to someone who, I'm like, you need to really kind of like get to a place where, babe, I'm going out. See ya. My mom was that way. I love that my mom was that way. My mom would buy a plane ticket, pack a bag, and then tell us she was going on a trip. She's like, I ain't waiting for y'all, and I'm not waiting for him. And I don't really care, right, if you guys are coming or not. Basically, she didn't really want us to go. She wanted to go and do her own thing. But she'd have her friends, and they'd all have they'd plan these trips, and she would take off. I would love that. I'd be like, where are you going? Costa Rica, wherever. I'm like, really? There's such a blessing to detach. So your homework assignment is look at the attachments around you and look at the things that are on your plate right now that are holding you back. And a lot of you are probably holding on to things that you don't even realize, or you're holding on to concepts. You're holding on to concepts. And again, don't get me wrong with buy the house, enjoy your house, pay that mortgage, you know, fix it up and paint it and build a deck and replace the roof and put the grass and that's your thing. Because I have friends that are totally like house people. house people. Do you have any yourself? Of what? PT Kelly. But understand that the things that we put value on, a lot of things, are things that we are programmed to believe we need. You don't need a lot of things. You just don't need a lot of things. If we look back in history and we look at our forefathers and you go, wow, you know, they didn't have shit. They didn't have things that hold you back, things that hold me back. If I tell you this, and I don't want it to sound bad because it's my decision and it doesn't really hold me back, nothing really holds me back. Certain things like I have my dogs that I'm responsible for, and I have people that are around me that take care of my animals. I was gone for almost 3 months and my animals were taken care of. My mother at 86 years old, I have to be careful because my sister plays my videos and now my mom is watching, so I have to be very careful about what I say. But that my mom is older, it's not where I just want to go and disappear in the Joshua. I don't just jump up and go, oh, I'm gonna go cross country, because right now I'm taking care of where I'm at, and transferring my business online 100% has been the goal over this past year, which I did just recently take everything online. So it's been able to, I've been able to disconnect. I can do what I want, when I want, where I want, anywhere in the world. So I got that taken care of, which was like, I had to go to work, I had to show up, I had to teach classes, I have my client load. So I was kind of governed by the place that I was working. But now at this stage of my career, I'm 100% online. So I'm super happy. So the only thing that I carry with me are my dogs, and that's it. I have no person in my life that, you know, I'm with someone that has a job somewhere that, you know, we have to stay here because that person's job, you know, that kind of thing. I'm not tied to anything. I'm not tied to any concept. I have to be here because of that, or I have to be there because of that. I have some things that are on the horizon that are going to take a lot of my time where I am physically right now, but that's also going to be, I'm almost like, I'm building it to be able to drop it off so that I can go and do what I want to do. Guys, it's 10:01. I could talk forever. Just to get to know what yours are too. Yeah. Again, I don't have attachments to people, places, or things. And once I got rid of people, places, and things as attachments, my life became incredibly fun. I almost had to go through a lot of guilt in giving up people, places, and things because they were so ingrained. It's almost like those attachments are like inside of you. And then you go, whoa. Cut those cords and you free yourself. And I'm not saying you can't be with someone and you can't have things. It's just don't attach and don't make it like, oh, I can't do what I want to do. Yeah. What do we need today? Okay, cool. So today's workout, and you're not going to like me at all. Again, I'm recovering. But today's workout is going to be a volume workout. So I'm going to write it out here. You're not going to need anything, actually. Today's just ugly. Today's super ugly. But it's going to be a chipper workout. And the chipper workout means that, yeah, you're going to throw up. You're going to totally hate me. So give me 2 minutes. I'm going to write it out. Once I finish writing it out, I'll come back on. I'll give you the instruction plan. And then I'm going to take off because I've got an appointment this morning. Right. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. I'm going to write it out for you. Love you.